4 years. I'm very happy to be here tonight with you too. This is awesome. I just want to take a few minutes to walk you through our friendship through the years. So my first memory of the phase was in 2000 when my family moved into our house on William Penn Drive. I remember standing in the yard looking down the street, seeing what looked like 10 cars bumper to bumper. and a mob following each other into the house. That mob was the phase. It was the largest family I'd ever seen. I was so excited to find out there was a guy my age just 2 doors down. Tony and I had so much fun growing up together. We would play guns in the field, pull all-nighters to the basement playing Halo, and spend our days making up games on the trampoline in my backyard. As I'm sure you all know, Tony is the youngest of 6. Since there was an age gap of 9 years to Tony's next youngest brother, Brad, we, of course, got ourselves in some shenanigans at Faye's house. Like most kids growing up in the early 2000s with access to the internet, we learned how to illegally download songs off LimeWire and browse the early YouTubes and addicting games. Being the 2 smart boys that we were, we figured out a loophole on how we could get away with playing Grand Theft Auto.
Culture.
My parents told me that I wasn't allowed to play Grand Theft Auto at my house, but they never said anything about playing it at Faye's house. Tony wasn't allowed to play it at his house, but he was allowed to watch. So we deduced that we could play without breaking any rules. And of course, having 3 older brothers in the house, Tom, Joe, and Brad, we found our first nudie magazine in the basement. High school came around and Tony and I finally attended the same school. Tony had been heavily involved with his extreme martial arts group, and I felt like this was a real turning point for Tony becoming the confident and strong young man he is today. He performed in front of our entire high school of 2,000 plus students. I remember how blown away everyone was after that performance. Tony and I were on the gymnastics team together sophomore through senior year. We had a blast the entire time through. We pushed each other on the floor every single day, and we both threw our first double backflips together on the same day. This was probably the scariest thing I had ever done next to this speech right now. And I remember Tony being there, screaming at the top of his lungs, giving me a huge hug when I landed on the mat. And of course, we had our slap game we played every day. Kept each other on our toes. Tony had to take some time recovering after tearing his ACL junior year, and this is when he really started to dig into his creative side. Tony and I ended up on the same film class, and before this film class, we thought we knew everything there was to know about cinema. Watching The Matrix would seem to be every other weekend. Right away I could tell Tony had an extremely creative and artistic side when we were put on assignments together. He was 1,000 times faster at editing than me, and it was obvious he had a real talent and passion for film. College rolled around, and I packed my bags and moved to California, and I would come back to visit Illinois at least once a year. And every time I came back, I always looked forward to spending time with the Fays. Even though Tony and I didn't talk on the phone much in those years, when I came back, it was like no time had passed, and we picked up where we were left off. And if you don't know, Mr. Fay cooks the best steaks I've ever had. And Mrs. Fay's garlic buttered angel hair is to die for. So it's always a real treat hanging out with you guys. After moving to Colorado, I was ecstatic to learn that the Fays were buying a house within driving distance in the Phoenix area. Tony had let me know that he and his girlfriend were heading down to the new house to celebrate the new year. And I could tell by his excitement for me to meet Ellie that he'd found someone truly special. Although I only got to hang out with Tony and Ellie for a day on that trip, I could tell that they had found something really special. I could tell by the way that they talked about each other and the way that they looked at each other that Tony and Ellie were really in love. Tony was so proud of Ellie pursuing medicine, and it's still fun to hear his excitement and curiosity about what she is learning in her studies. And as a fellow healthcare provider, I'm stoked that you're nearing your end close to residency. Dermatology is going to be amazing. It's a great fit for you. Jokes aside, medical school takes so much hard work and dedication. You're really going to be a great doctor. Tony has always been a pillar of support and such a great friend to me, and if I ever needed any advice or someone to talk to, Tony had time for it. He's always given me a very grounded and healthy advice, and I really appreciate that, buddy. Soon enough, you two will have your own baby mama phase running around, and I can't wait for that. I just ask that before you free their minds and have them into the Matrix, I want to be there for that first viewing. So let's raise a toast for Tony and Ellie.
Yeah.
Many happy years and many, many, many more years of love and happiness.
Yeah.